Robert Pattinson has had an unusual career so far. He's gone from lovable teen hero and sparkly vampire heartthrob to a critically acclaimed indie wildcard, capable of leading as well as supporting. The decision to cast him as the next Batman has been controversial, with some people expecting him to be a complete failure, whilst others are willing to give his moody, chisel-jawed Bruce Wayne a chance. So, how did Robert Pattinson go from being a shy 13-year-old to becoming the Batman?
Hello? I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to introduce myself last week. I'm Edward Cullen.
The origin story. Pattinson's origin story begins with a little bit of luck and some deleted scenes. The luck relates to his time with the Barnes Theatre Club, which he joined after some persuasion from his dad.
I didn't do plays in school, I didn't perform at all, I wasn't even studying drama, and something just sort of clicked and wanted to audition.
At age 15, he was cast in several plays, including the lead role in Our Town, a performance of which was seen by a talent agent who picked young Pattinson up as a client. The deleted scenes relate to one of the actor's first film roles. After a small part in The Ring of the Nibelungs, Pattinson landed a role in Vanity Fair. Unfortunately, his scenes were cut, but no one told him. His agent felt so bad that they prioritized him when putting forward actors for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which landed him the role of Cedric Diggory. Harry Potter introduced Pattinson to the big screen on a global scale, especially for the teenage and young adult age bracket. This was an attractive position for the actor to be in later on when the producers of Twilight went looking for their Edward Cullen in the cast list of Harry Potter. In the meantime, Pattinson starred in a few TV movies, a straight-to-DVD comedy, and a limited-release Salvador Dali biopic, but his main priority became pursuing a music career.
Really thought I was going to do music at that point. I don't know where I had the kind of belief in that, because there was absolutely no one saying that there's a kind of music career on the table. And then I ran out of money, basically.
At this point, Pattinson agreed to audition for the role of Edward Cullen, despite being pretty confused by the logic of his character's existence and the toxic love story that ensues. He landed the role and decided to perform Edward in as moody a way as possible, which did not sit well with the producers.
The manager came up as a surprise visit, and I was like, oh hey, I just thought everything was fine. And then at lunch, they were like, okay, so whatever you're doing right now, you need, after lunch, just do the opposite or you'll be fired by the end of the day.
Thankfully, Pattinson changed his approach and saved himself from being fired. Upon release, Twilight became a hit at an unprecedented level, catapulting the actor into a stardom he neither asked for nor felt particularly comfortable in. This continued for another 4 years, during which he reprised the role in 4 sequels, and it is still likely his most well-known role. During this Twilight era, Pattinson starred in a few other films, playing markedly less creepy love interests. Tyler Hawkins in Remember Me, Jacob in Water for Elephants, and George Duroy in Bellamy. However, it was right at the end of the era that he starred in Cosmopolis, signaling the beginning of his indie phase.
I was never good at geography, and I learned things by asking the drivers where they come from.
They come from horror and despair.
The indie phase. Cosmopolis, which was directed by famed king of venereal horror David Cronenberg, was a step outside the box for Pattinson, who plays a billionaire whose day devolves into chaos.
You know, he's come off a huge series, he's done 5 Twilight movies, and he's looking to do something interesting because actually he's a very intelligent, interesting actor.
The character unravels the world he had built for himself, which you could argue sounds quite similar to Bruce Wayne. After Cosmopolis, Pattinson continued to pursue smaller films, including The Rover, The Lost City of Z, and High Life, all led by less mainstream directors who create films that are the opposite of cookie-cutter Hollywood blockbusters. What's interesting about Pattinson's approach to acting is his active pursuit of projects rather than accepting just those he's offered. In an interview, he describes purposefully going for roles that wanted skinny guys with black hair rather than the ones he was being offered for the blonde guy. To overcome this stereotype, he reached out to directors who he thought could make something of him, believing himself to not be that good of an actor, but rather good at knowing who to work with. This is how he got the role of Connie in Good Time. Pattinson saw a still image of the Safdie brothers' first feature film, Heaven Knows What. He then contacted them, convinced they could make something together.
Rob kind of said he wanted to disappear into a world, and I think that what he responded to from that still, even like I could never even make that jump, you know, from a still to making the commitment that you wanted to make, which is incredible. But just to kind of disappear into a world, he's like, I want to be in a world like that.
In fact, Good Time was written for Pattinson as opposed to the usual route where script comes before actors. He also contacted director Robert Eggers after seeing his film The Witch. Eggers felt that Pattinson's unique paranoid quality made him perfect for the role of Thomas Howard in The Lighthouse, in which two lighthouse keepers from New England slowly go insane. This film has been praised by critics overall and for Pattinson's performance, calling it mesmeric, a sledgehammer punch, and so transformative it's jarring. His paranoid quality is possibly what makes him so fascinating to watch in interviews as well, where he meanders between disarming honesty and awkward humor. Despite his lack of self-recognition, Pattinson's acting talent is obvious, with many more directors praising his abilities. High Life director Claire Denis describes Pattinson's relentless search for truth that makes him so capable of escaping to other worlds through acting.
His interest in filmmaking is so great, so real, that he was ready for everything I proposed, you know.
Though not every one of Pattinson's indie servings is a box office hit, his choices show a creative curiosity to continuously challenge himself by playing someone he hasn't played before, unafraid of both personal discomfort nor that of the audience.
I like doing things that feel crazy to me, and I feel a little comfortable if I feel that other people would be a little bit frightened to do it.
This is especially evident in The Devil All the Time, where he plays Reverend Preston Teagarden, a pastor who preys on young women. This is perhaps his most despicable and dislikable role so far, yet it could also be his most disturbingly gripping. Donning a heavy South American accent, he performs a convincing speech that moves the blame from him to his victims. Curiously, Twilight co-star Kristen Stewart has embarked on a similar acting journey as Pattinson since she played Bella Swan, opting for quite a variety of roles. If you'd like a video about her career, then please comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us out.
You want to crash a plane, but not from the air. That was so dramatic.
Return to the A-list. At this point in Pattinson's career, the actor's agent said he was no longer on the Hollywood A-list. This was because of the perception that he wasn't interested in what mainstream cinema had to offer, making his commercial viability difficult to sell. The actor reports feeling a lack of job security and wanting to make a change. Luckily for him, this is when Christopher Nolan called. Having been impressed by the actor's performances in Good Time and The Lost City of Z, Nolan offered Pattinson a role in Tenet, marking his return to blockbuster territory 8 years after the end of Twilight. Despite the scale of Tenet, Pattinson's approach to his character was grounded, basing his mannerisms on debates he's watched of author Christopher Hitchens. Co-star John David Washington describes Pattinson's, quote, natural ability to make it seem like it's all chaos, but he's very concentrated on what he's trying to do, despite his stories and his sentiments.
Listen, Rob Pattinson always finds his light. He knows.
On the first day of shooting Tenet, Pattinson was cast as Batman. This role too he secured by actively pursuing it, asking the producer Dylan Clark about the project whilst it was only just a rumor, and eventually meeting the director Matt Reeves and liking his take on the character.
And it was the last thing I said in the meeting. I'm like, what's going on with the Batman? And he was just a little flicker of recognition, and I kind of thought, there's an opening there, and so I kind of kept pushing and pushing. And
of course, with such an iconic character as this, each person in the audience will come to watch the film carrying the baggage of previous Batman. Indeed, the challenge of finding a unique angle to approach the character from is one of the reasons why Pattinson wanted the role. Perhaps his enthusiasm, paranoid quality, and manic attention to detail is what will make him a unique and memorable Batman. So that is how Robert Pattinson went from being a shy 13-year-old persuaded to join an amateur theatre club to becoming this generation's Batman. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more videos, and comment with your thoughts on the topic. Who is your favourite Batman so far? For more film content, feel free to follow us on Twitter, Letterboxd and TikTok. Links in the description. Otherwise, this has been Tea Break Film Reviews. My name's Michelle, and I hope you have a great day.